Instagram stories for Monday, May 20th. I'm your host, Daniel Hill. On Mondays, we break down what the head of Instagram shared on his Ask Me Anything. Let's get right into the questions. The first one, is shadow banning real? If you're not familiar with this term, shadow banning, it describes the experience that someone has when they create content, they post it on Instagram, and nothing happens. No one sees it. Hashtags don't have any effect. It's just not getting picked up by the algorithm at all. The question, is it real? Here's Adam's answer.
Shadow banning means different things to different people, but in general, it's used to describe when an account isn't getting as much reach as someone thinks it deserves. Now, I want to be clear, there are instances where we will limit the reach of an account because we think it might be problematic in some way. Not because there's a certain opinion or certain politics, but because it might have posted a number of things that got taken down for violating our community guidelines. So if you're getting caught up in one of these safety measures, you can go to profile settings and then account status, and you can see if your account is recommendable or not, because we have a lot of accountability there. If we're showing you content from an account you do not follow and it's problematic, that's really on us. But in general, we're trying to grow reach for creators as much as we can, because if we do, they'll post more, people will use Instagram more, and then we can make money as a business by advertising with the over 10 million advertisers we already have. But I did want to speak to this directly because I know it's a big area of concern.
So this is a great opportunity to go into your Instagram account, look under account status, and see if your account has had any violations on it and what you could potentially do about that. There are 3 areas that you can look under. In account status, there's removed content, what can't be recommended, and features you can't use if you have violated any of Instagram's policies. Definitely investigate that and see where you stand. Okay, let's go on to the next questions. Let's go on to the next couple of questions, which are all about reach. The first one has to do with how to increase your reach. Here's Adam's answer.
There are no silver bullets. You have to make content that is true to your goals, but also that is engaging. And to figure out what's engaging, you probably need to experiment. What people are interested in changes over time. I know that I've been trying new formats, doing these in-depth interviews, doing spotlights as reels instead of stories, trying to share more advice and hot takes, because I'm finding that stuff seems to be more engaging than the stuff I used to do, which used to be more just feature updates. But we all have to figure out our own version of what works on Instagram and is also aligned with our goals.
In the same vein, someone asked him, why do you lie and gaslight us about reach? Props to this person for having the guts to ask this question, and also credit to Adam for actually being willing to answer it.
I feel like I'm getting accused more and more of gaslighting people, and I think people are frustrated with their reach going down. And I understand that. I have seen my reach go down, and I have found it very frustrating myself. I want to just reiterate that if you're making content that people want to see, it's in our interest as a business to connect those people with that content. Because if we do, they'll be happier, you'll be happier, and our business will do better. We're more than happy to advertise against that attention elsewhere. Now, I get that it's hard. If you're making content and it's working one day and it's not working the next month, that's really frustrating. Now, there's lots of reasons that could be. You might be caught up in some safety measure. You can check an account status, but more likely, there's other stuff going on. Maybe there's new content that is even more engaging, or your followers' interests have changed. And so we're doing everything we can to try and grow the pie so that everyone's reach can go up on average. But we can't force people to use Instagram more. There's only so much time in the day.
In a certain sense, he's right. We're competing for other people's attention on this app, and there are plenty of other apps that take people's attention. However, when someone chooses to follow you and then they don't see your content, it is a very frustrating and disappointing experience. Okay, we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the ideal time to post reels for gaining an audience and if full-length videos and reels perform better than a string of images. So stick around. Oh, hey, welcome back. Let's keep going with the questions. The next one, what's the ideal time for reels to gain an audience? I actually first thought they meant what time should I post the reels, but now I think they mean how long should the reel be? Sometimes it's a little hard to infer what the person is asking from these questions.
There isn't exactly an ideal time, but you can go to your insights and see when your followers or most of your followers are actually active on Instagram. And if you see that there's a peak somewhere, I suggest posting right around or just before that peak, because the engagement in that first hour tends to have a lot of impact on the overall reach of a post over time, whether or not it's a reel.
That idea makes sense. If there's a window of time that your followers are online, posting at the beginning of the window instead of the end of the window gives them as much opportunity to see your content as possible. The next question has to do with videos versus images in a reel. The question, do full-length videos and reels perform better than a string of images? Here's Adam's answer.
Not for every creator, but on average, yes. In general, people post more photos than they post videos. And in general, people interact with videos more than they interact with photos. So there's a supply-demand imbalance. So that's why on average, reels do better than photos, even photo carousels. But you can make photo carousels more engaging. Carousels tend to do better than single photos. You can add music, and maybe the people who follow you for your photos. So it's not trying to tell you that you have to make video. If you don't want to make video, don't make video. That's okay. But on average, yes, video does better than photos, even carousels.
I think fundamentally we all understand that. Think about how much time you spend looking at a photo on Instagram versus how long you might spend watching a video. If it's a short video, you might even watch it a couple of times. But if it's a photo, you're probably only looking at it for a few seconds. Maybe you zoom in if you really like it. Okay, let's go on to the next question. I like this one because it's one I've thought about a lot, and I never really saw an official answer from Instagram. Does editing captions actually affect post performance? I believe what this is referring to is after you post a reel or a photo, you've written the caption when you posted it initially, but now you want to change it. Maybe you forgot to tag someone, maybe you made a typo in the caption, and you want to fix that. Here's Adam's answer.
It doesn't. Editing of captions will not affect post performance.
Nice to get an official answer on that one. Next question. Since people don't always have the sound on, will posts perform better with subtitles? I like this question.
Absolutely. I think about, at least last time I checked, half of video is consumed with the sound off on Instagram. That's probably shrinking over time. So subtitles are a great way not only to make the content more accessible, but also more approachable for those who might not have their sound on right away.
He's absolutely right. There are so many good reasons to use subtitles. Even if you think the person is watching it with their earbuds in, they might be listening to music and watching videos at the same time. So they don't turn on the sound on Instagram, but they're still listening to their song or their podcast or whatever. So if they can see the subtitles, then they know what's happening. Or maybe they're laying in bed watching videos and their spouse is right there, so they don't have the volume on while they're watching those videos. These are all scenarios that subtitles make so much sense. Okay, let's go on to the next question. And this one is very key. Is watch time more important than the number of likes and comments? This is a very important question to know the answer to.
More important than watch time or like and comment counts is send rates. So engage, and generally, I think the rate is more important than the count. So the number of sends per reach, the number of likes per reach, the number of comments per reach. But sends per reach correlate more, in my experience, with overall reach than anything else, because we are looking to help people discover content they want to connect with friends over. And so sends is a great proxy for that sort of connection over creativity.
Okay, so this is a reminder. Make content that is so good that people can't help but share it. That is absolutely the way forward. I've been saying that for a while, but I continue to recommend that as a strategy. The last question we're going to do today is Threads considered the new Instagram? I'm not sure who was saying that because they're completely different kinds of platforms, but who was saying that?
No, Threads is not the new Instagram. Threads is really for sharing ideas, and hopefully it's less angry than the competition. Instagram is more for sharing creativity, photos and videos that you've made that you're proud to share with the world. Threads is more about sharing hot takes, commentary, thoughts. It's, ideas. So they're different.
Okay, that is going to do it for today's episode. Sorry that this one went a little bit long, but I felt like it had a lot of valuable questions that we needed to discuss. In case you haven't seen, I made a new video on my Instagram and TikTok about an app that I've been testing called Beeper that basically is like a universal inbox for all your messaging apps. Instagram DMs, WhatsApp, text messages, LinkedIn, Twitter, blah, blah, blah. The list goes on and on. It's actually pretty good. Setup's a little bit challenging, but check out the video that I made. You can find it on my Instagram or my TikTok at Daniel Hill Media, and I'll link to it in the show notes. All right, rap song.
Let me tell you a couple things that you should know about me. A product manager, but do not have a bachelor's degree. But actually, that's factually a fraction of me. Another fraction's posting content irregular and irrationally. Still probably won't get a job at the Gram. They forgot, they don't know, or don't care who I am. That's why you never see me at the parties and events. My lack of followers must make me irrelevant. Don't have a course, a book to sell to make a bag of grand. Not a social media marketer, don't represent any brands. Plain to see, don't have an agency, but I got a lot of spam. Just putting in my work without the glitz and glam. Won't catch me eating fish unless it's shrimp or clam. No six pack, no risk that, there's a gym card in my hand. Don't have a full-time job, but I got a lot of plans. Stay plotting, dropping knowledge on TikTok and Instagram.